Our introduction of speaker, Mr. Mendez, was caught in a traffic jam. And so to not delay your patience, I'm going to have the pleasure of introducing, Mr. Dominique, Nicky Green. Our next speaker would like to invite you to take a few moments to dream and imagine the great future ahead of you. There's a moment in life when tragedy can turn into your destiny. No one is a better example of this than our speakers for today, Dominique Green, known affectionately as Nicky, by his friends and family. Dominique grew up in downtown Newport News, Virginia, and lived in Harbor Homes, Lassiter Courts, Stewart Gardens, and Ridley Circle. Also known as the low income, where not so many rich people of color are called home. But fortunately, his mother, Vernice Green Holloway, his uncle, and his football coach, B.J. Johnson, never let him to succumb to the fears and despair surrounding his community. Instead, he sought out of the kindness and love and charity that existed just below the surface. He always appreciated the opportunity to have a better life, but understood that no one person could promise a better life. His gratitude for Mr. Russell and so many other friends, his gratitude of Mr. Russell, Mr. Hatch, and so many other senior citizens would let him run errands or would buy his many dozens of crabs so that he could give money to help out his mom sometimes, gets him extremely emotional today. Today, Dom has obtained an undergraduate degree in electrical engineering from Virginia Tech, followed by a master's in business management and innovation technology from Rensselaer from Albany, New York. He has traveled to over 10 countries and worked and visited over 35 states across the U.S. with the goal of reaching all 50 before he turns the age of 50. He has and continues to consult with the world's largest corporations, which he has done for over the last 20 years, including GoPro, Ross Stores, Walmart, CVS, and Procter & Gamble. He is a published author as well. To add Dominique's pursuit to bring change, he made the first and only political debut as a candidate for the city of Newport News in 2008. There's a lot more to the story, and as his journey is just the beginning, but I don't want to tell you, I'll let him tell you himself. Please help me welcome our speaker for this evening, Newport News native, Kappa League Scholar, recipient, and Heritage High School alum, Mr. Dominique Nicky Green.
I was trying to cool down a little bit, but that's just not going to happen. First of all, thank you for the introduction. This is what I call a full circle moment for me. I actually have been out of high school now since '97, so over 30 years. I see some of my classmates in the back, and also Mr. Watson here was the lead guiding counselor for Heritage High School when we opened up. And let me just remind you why we're here today. We're here to celebrate. Now, I realize it's a little rainy, a little dull outside. I realize a few folks couldn't make it because of traffic. But don't miss this moment. Don't miss this moment. When I think about all of the things going on in the world today, and there's so many of them. You know, some of us are recovering from some lost loved ones, some lost friends. We're recovering from maybe some things that didn't go so well. But you know what? We're here to celebrate some really important people today. So, with as much energy and as much noise as you can, let's give it up for the scholarship winners up here, the seniors. Let's go. Let's give it up for them. Let's let them feel it. Let them feel it. Let them know how proud you are of them. I don't take this moment lightly. I am excited for our future. When I see these young men up here today and what they endured, think about it, right? I told you 30 years ago, totally different issues today than there were 30 years ago. And I can tell you, it's even more challenging for the young people that are up here on the stage today. So now, there's another group that we need to celebrate, and that's you in the audience. Each one of these young men, some of them may have a father, some may have a mother, some may have both parents, some may have no parents, some may have grandparents, some may be adopted. Whatever their story is, because of you, they've been able to push forward in spite of all the circumstances. So please give yourselves a round of applause. And then finally, of course, while we're here, Mr. Price, the entire organization that supported these young men, that got them to where they needed to be, that made sure. I felt a little underdressed. I had to go back and retuck my shirt. I was not going to come up here and dismantle all the great stuff that you all have taught these young men. So I went back. In corporate America, since COVID, we've been a little lax. You guys got me back in check, so I appreciate it. But to the wonderful organization that you have put around these young men, you're also a huge reason why they're here. So please, let's give them a round of applause for all the time and energy they put into these young men. Again, this is a celebration. So we're gonna let it all out because it's somewhere, somebody right now is not able to celebrate because something happened. Their kid may not have gotten to the school they want. They may not have money to go to school. But these young men, and you all have contributed to the outcome here. Now I had a funny joke, and the thing about funny jokes is it could go either way. It could go left or it could go right. But you have to promise me that as I go through the rest of my spiel today, that you won't hold it against me if you like the joke or if you don't like the joke. So I did actually receive the scholarship a long time ago. So I'm actually kind of a semi-alumni because I received the same scholarship that these brilliant young men up here received. However, I didn't disclose to Mr. Price that I also received another scholarship. I'm gonna stand over here a little bit further back. And I received it, and it was the Alpha Phi Alpha scholarship. It could be worse. There we go, Mr. Price. So don't hold that against me. But the fact is that we're all in it together. Whether you're an alpha man, a Kappa, Omega, whatever that is, we're all in it together. And just for the record, I didn't pledge Alpha. So there you go. I would have felt guilty. So I'm going to be quick. I'm not going to keep you here for 2 hours, although Mr. Price gave me he's like, you know, Baptist, I'm not a preacher, by the way. I always have to say, I get accused of being a preacher all the time. I'm not a preacher. But he said that, you know, Baptist preachers can speak a long time. So at first I had a point, or 20 points from A to Z, but then I thought about you all and I said, I won't do that. I won't give you my points A through Z. I'll give you my points A through D. Does that sound fair? So 4 points that I want us to walk away with. And these are things that it's not only for now, but it's also for later, right? Because you all are going into a world where a lot of things that you've been taught are going to come into contention. You're going to meet people, you're going to be in situations that is going to make your life a little bit more challenging. And so I thought about this. If I were back in your seat 30 plus years ago, what would I want somebody to tell me? So I have 4 points. The first one is work harder on yourself than you do on your job or in school. The second one is build a great team. The third one, which is exemplified here today, commit yourself to reasonable service. And then the last one, make your mark in the marketplace. So, as was mentioned earlier, I went to Virginia Tech. I did electrical engineering. I then went on to pursue 3 additional master's degrees from College of William & Mary, George Washington University, and Rensselaer. up in Albany, New York. Since that time, over 20 years, I've been traveling and working 35 plus states, almost a dozen countries, Poland, Czech Republic, China. I was just in India a month ago. All from a kid that grew up in downtown Newport News. Single mother, never knew my father. And my system for succeeding was that I couldn't do it alone. So I started working harder on myself. So I'm going to need a little bit of participation. And this will make it easier for you so you don't have to listen to me just ramble. So I hope you want to participate. First of all, and the answer could be no or yes, let me know. Question, how much did you get paid to go to church today? Did you get paid?
No.
Okay, that's a no. Nobody got paid to go to church. How much do you think that you get paid to watch YouTube videos all day? How much do you get paid?
Nothing.
Okay, I think the word of choice is nothing. Here's a good one. We all know Michael Jordan. It's easy to go to him because most of us know him. How much do you think Michael Jordan got paid in high school to do push-ups and sit-ups and run? How much? Nothing. But yet he's one of the best basketball players we've ever known. So the key takeaway is this. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job, and this is for us grown adults, and then you do in school. Because school is set up as a curriculum, right? You gotta get through English, you gotta get through math, you gotta get through science. It's a curriculum. Everything you do outside of that is what's gonna make you special and what's gonna allow you to reach your goals. It's not the several hours you put in school. It's not the many hours that you put in at work. It's everything outside of that. The things that you do in the dark will come to light. So if you're doing push-ups and sit-ups and you're going to church and you're worshiping and you're talking to God and you're asking Him, He's making a way for you. But those things don't happen in the public square. They happen when nobody's looking. Spend more time on yourself, building yourself, making yourself stronger, recommitting yourself to the things that you know were essential to your growth. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. The next one here, no one can guarantee you an outcome. They can only guarantee you an opportunity. When my mother, a single parent, had me, the key was, how is she going to do it? How is she going to raise by herself 2 children? I had 1 sister. As I started to get older and realized that we were in a tougher situation, I started committing myself to different things and working in different areas. I worked at the Boys and Girls Club, cleaning floors, cleaning toilets. Excited? Nobody jumped up for that one. But those are things I did. I cut grass. I would go sell crabs back in the community. I would run errands for seniors. And all of those steps, all of those actions are what allow me to move forward in life. When time came for me to go to college, much like our young men up here, my mother couldn't just whip out a checkbook and write a check to Virginia Tech. I had to seek out organizations that would support me, and they came through with flying colors. That's why I'm so proud of our community, because it didn't have to be that way. You know, I could have done all the work, taken all the classes, and I still could have never gone to college because we didn't have the money. So the opportunity came, and I took advantage of it. Usually, if you have an opportunity, the first thing you think about is it a good opportunity or a bad opportunity? That's the first thing that kind of crosses your mind. Is it a good opportunity or a bad opportunity? And my advice to you would be to take every opportunity and use it to your advantage to become the best person or the best version of yourself. When I filled out all those college scholarship applications, no one guaranteed me that I would get a scholarship. They couldn't promise me the outcome, but I took advantage of the opportunity. So my mom, as I mentioned, my uncle, Watkins Green, they're both gone now. My football coach, Bernard Johnson, is still here. But these folks made up my team. My mom went through a lot, whole lot. The biggest challenge that she had was that at the age of 4, she lost her father, her mother, and a sibling, all within a 4-month period. She was alone. The baby had died during childbirth during this time in Emporia, Virginia. They didn't have the resources. So my grandmother tried to take the child, have the child, but unfortunately the child didn't survive. That was January. 4 months later, her father, my grandfather, passed away of a massive stroke, and some say it was because of the loss of the child. And then my grandmother, my mom's mom, my grandmother, had a nervous breakdown, and she spent the rest of her life in and out of mental institutions trying to recover. So that's how my mom's story started at 4 years old. She was shipped down here to Newport News. As she was shipped here, she ended up in the house of a not so great aunt. She suffered a lot of abuse. If you can imagine someone that doesn't have the protection that a lot of children have, that's what she endured. So she was alone for most of her life. In spite of all of that, in spite of all that trauma and all that loss, she still made a way for us.
All right.
So build a great team. You have a team today, all of us. We all have a team. It might be a husband, a wife, it might be a grandparent. You have a team today. When you go off to college, you have to build another team. Someone that will support you, encourage you, help pick you up when you fall. You're fortunate now because you have a team. But throughout my life, I've learned that you always have to build a team based on where you're going. So look for those team members that will help support you. You'll find that in a lot of cases, they're very much like you. They have very similar goals, and they want to make their parents proud. Throughout the course of my career, the most difficult thing I've had to do in traveling is to build global teams. So throughout the many countries I've been to, as I mentioned, in the States, the reason I've had to travel so much is the perfect team is not always the person that's closest to you. A lot of times you have to find them, and you have to recruit them, and you have to ask them, what are your goals? What are your dreams? What are you trying to do? Some of the greatest pairings in the world, whether it's in sports, whether it's in politics, have come from people that found others that had the same ambitions. And so don't give up on finding a team. To me, that is your foundation. You were born into a great team simply by your parents or your grandparents or if you're adopted. But the truth is that now you're going to be on your own. And the only thing you're going to look at now is how do I move forward? And that's going to come from building a great team. The next one here, commit yourself to reasonable service. Who here knows what service is? When I say service, what comes to mind? What is service? Anybody, yell it out.
Giving back to others.
Giving back to others. I know these guys know what service is. What service? Let me hear some up here. Open up, that's fortunate, good. What are some other ways you can serve? I'm gonna put y'all on the spot now. I'm on the spot sweating, so I might as well put you guys on the spot. Who wants to go? Service, what is service? Down here.
Giving someone an opportunity.
Awesome, next. Giving someone an opportunity. Anybody else? Service, what's service?
Giving back.
Giving back, that's right. So that's exactly what I always said when I got the opportunity. When I was positioned, I was going to give back. But the truth is that you have to give back all the time. It's not just when you make it. Giving back is an infinite thing. You don't have to have a lot of money. In fact, you don't have to have any money to give back. Two of the best books I received is when I was working at a soup kitchen, volunteering my time. One was Master Key to Riches. I know you guys will write this down, so don't worry. Master Key to Riches, and More Than Just a Carpenter. More Than Just a Carpenter is obviously, it's about Jesus. He was more than just a carpenter. And then the one that excites me most is Make Your Place in the Marketplace. So when I was a kid, who knows what Pearl Bailey Library? Anybody? Okay. So when I was a kid, I spent pretty much all my time in Pearl Bailey Library because it had air conditioning. So we were poor, and we couldn't afford the O and the R. We were just poor. And I spent all of my time in Pearl Bailey Library. And if you know anything about Pearl Bailey, you know it's in the hood. So you had a lot of folks that hung out there that were homeless. Some people just tried to find a way to get into some air conditioning like me. But that's where I spent all my time, between 25th and 26th Street. The takeaway was, I went there for air conditioning, but I actually found something else. I found that learning is a lifelong process. And so I can remember so many times I was going to Pearl Bailey Library, and right to your left, there was a tape section. And you would go and go get a tape, you go walk over to the listening area, and you can listen to whoever you wanted to listen to. The person I listened to was none other than Dr. Martin Luther King. And if you ever get a chance to go on YouTube, I want you to type in Dr. Martin Luther King Blueprint. It's about 7-8 minutes. He's giving a speech in Philadelphia at a middle school, and he's talking to kids about what does it take in order to succeed in life. So I would get, and everyone knows he's got the best voice ever. So it wasn't as if I was torturing myself. Listening to him, it was so good, I listened to him over and over and over again. And when I go back to my point here about making your mark in the marketplace, I'm simply saying that each one of you has a talent. And what Dr. Martin Luther King would say is that talent is so good that even if you were in a backwoods somewhere, people would create an unbeaten path to your door. That's how good your talent is. Your job is to find what that talent is and bring it to the marketplace. We know some great guys that have brought it to the marketplace, right? LeBron James, right? Great athlete. Michael Jordan. But we also know there are people that are not athletes that have brought it to the table, that have brought it to the marketplace. And people have voted him in. President Barack Obama. He took his talent to the marketplace. People voted and elected him president. You have to believe this. You have to believe that you have a talent. If you don't believe that, you're never going to reach your full potential. You have a talent. It might be math. For me, it's taking very complex technical problems and simplifying them for business leaders. For you, it might be something as simple as making a killer app. Your app could be on Google Play right now or in the Apple Store. So you have to believe that you have a talent that you can take to the marketplace. So in my search for trying to figure out where I go next in life, I'm always asking, where am I going to land? Who am I going to help? And you have to be able to take your skills to the marketplace. So in closing, I think I mentioned this, but I wanted to make sure I didn't lose anybody. You guys know what tapes are? I didn't So tapes are these things. They were like these little rectangular pieces of plastic. Inside of it, there was this little wheel, 2 little wheels that spin over and over. So when I would listen to them over and over again, it was right next to the newspaper section. And, well, first of all, newspaper. Anybody know what newspaper is? Newspaper? So newspaper is a piece of paper you would get it delivered to your house every day. And in getting that newspaper, you would hear all the latest, what's going on in the world, politics. And so I just wanted to make sure, so first of all, library. Anybody know what a library is? Okay, it's this building. You walk inside, you open the door, and then usually there's someone at the front desk, and then you talk to people. Like you physically say hello to them. So when you get, you know, I know it's a new generation, but when you get to college, say hello to people, because you never know which one of them is going to be your next best friend, be a part of your team, and help you to build your dream. So thank you for the time. I could probably go on forever, but I won't. Thank you for having me.
Let's give him another hand. Thank you, Mr. Green, for those kind words of wisdom. At this time, I'm going to ask Mr. Xavier Tisdale to come and make a presentation to the speaker.
Mr. Green, on behalf of the Hampton Newport News Kappa Youth Leadership League, we would like to present you with this award of appreciation. That the award reads as follows. Hampton Newport News Kappa Youth Leadership League Award of Appreciation, presented to Mr. Dominique Green, 10th Annual College Signing Day Keynote Speaker, for your very inspiring and motivating message. May 26, 2024. The Hampton Newport News League, the Hampton Newport News Kappa League is a direct youth initiative of the Hampton Newport News Alumni Chapter, Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you, Xavier. At this time, is Alex here? Alex Mendez? Come on up, Alex. Alex was supposed to do our introduction to speaker, but he hit some traffic, so I just want him to introduce himself briefly. Go ahead, Alex.
Hello, I'm Alexander Mendez, and I am going to the 10th grade, and I'm going in Menchville High School.
Let's give him a hand. Before I bring Brother Price up, this is our 10th annual college signing. Let's give a hand for that. This is our 10th annual college signing. These group of young men, we're missing 2 of them, but this is the largest class in our history. We are 50 years old this year. This is the most seniors that we've ever had. And all 15 of them are going to a college or university. Let's give them a hand for that. And we are extremely proud of you guys. And this time I'm going to ask Brother Arthur Price, chapter God right, Chairman Emeritus. That's a fancy word. Chairman Emeritus. That means former. I'm going to ask him to come up and give us the charge for the ceremony signing. Brother Price?
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Do you see what I see? Do you see what I see?